Okay, class, this is the first video for week 3. Um, there's one more fix that I want to do. Grant kind of pointed out to me I was missing something. So let's go to our console on our DC. And we're going to go to Tools, Active Directory Users and Computers. On our System Management container, right-click, go to Properties, under Security, highlight SCCM. Well, actually, just click Advanced, then highlight SCCM, then click Edit. And choose this object and all descendant objects. Basically, that's going to copy the permissions down, so it will be here as well. Right now, I don't think it's causing a problem because it's able to create all the objects that it needs. This might clear up some issues and might prevent other issues. So do that. I would reboot both the DC. I would shut down the SCCM, reboot the DC, then bring back the SCCM. We've kind of done chapters 5 and 6, which is the client installation, but I want to do that on an actual client. So the first thing we need to do is build a client. The disk that is included in ACE IT Labs, it's automatically expired and it won't work. So we need to create a new Windows 10 image. So we're going to create, we're going to click over here under Lab Volumes. We're going to create a 10 gig disk. Over here under Lab VMs, we're going to choose Windows 10, 2 gig of memory, and we're going to create a Windows 10 machine. We're going to select that object and then call it Client 1 and click Rename. Add a DVD drive to it, add a NIC to it. Attach that NIC to our interface, to our switch. Take that disk, put it in that VM. The only thing left is to inject the Windows 10 ISO into that VM. Click on Console, power it on. I'm going to pause the video while it's booting. Okay, it's done booting. I'm going to click Next, Install Now. Accept the license. Do a custom installation. Use the entire disk. I'm going to pause the video. Okay, it's done. I'm going to click Restart Now. I'm not going to press any key. I want it to boot to the hard disk, not to the DVD. Okay, I'm going to customize the installation. I'm just turning everything off. I'm going to pause the video. Okay, I'm ready to continue. We're going to join a local Active Directory domain. Click Next. I'm just going to call it student. Okay, I'm going to pause it again. This takes a few minutes. Okay, I'm back into the OS. So I'm going to change my screen resolution. I'm also going to change my mouse, my cursor rather. I'm going to go in here and change my network interface. I'll explain why. Currently, I'm connecting to the router provided by Ace IT Labs. It's giving me the wrong DNS information. So what I'm going to do is I'm trying to get that fixed so we can turn off that the router by Ace IT and just use, excuse me, not the router, the DHCP. The DHCP is passing us out bad information. So I'm trying to get a little button to fix the DHCP server so we can turn it off and use our DHCP. Incidentally, I'm going to go back to lab. Incidentally, if your router, you can't get to the access to the internet, click this button. That's equivalent to unplugging and replugging in the router by Ace IT. That should allow people to reconnect. I know some people in the lab, I think there was 5 of them, 5 of you people that couldn't connect, just use this button to try to reconnect. So I'm going to go back to my console. So I'm just going to manually edit the DNS server and point it to our DNS server on our DC. I'm going to try that again. I'm not going to update OneDrive. The next thing I'm going to do is join it to the domain. I'm going to call it client 1. And restart it. While that's restarting, I'm going to sign into my SCCM server. Going back to my client. I'm going to sign in as the domain admin. Okay, that's going to take a while. So I'm going to go back to my SCCM, and I'm going to go back to assets and compliance, and we're going to start making some collections um, while we're waiting for that machine to finish booting up. So a collection is just a bunch of computers I can deploy things to. Right now, if I try to deploy to one of these collections, like all systems, let's just say I want to deploy Chrome browser. At that point, what would happen, it would go to all servers and clients. So I want to make one collection for clients and one collection for servers. So what I'm going to do is open up another tab, and I'm going to search for SCCM create collections. And I'm using Google to search. And right up here at the top is this little link. Click it for TechNet. And I want to look at some of these example queries. So they pretty much have a query for us that we can use. So I'm going to copy this. Oh, actually, I don't want to do it from out here. I want to do it from within my SCCM machine, so I can cut and paste. Okay, and I can do this from Bing as well. SCCM. It's still the top item. Go to the example queries, and I'll show you where to use these. And copy this. So I'm going to go back to my SCCM console. So I'm going to create a new, guys, if you have device collections highlighted, you should have a button up here. If you don't have a button, that means you have one of these selected. So go back here and click on the white space. And then you should go back to the default ribbon. So I'm going to choose create a device collection. I'm going to call it servers. And where do I want to start gathering data from? So I'm going to go into browse. I'm going to query all systems for the type of systems I want. That's where I'm going to look in. I'm going to add a rule, a query rule. Basically, it's going to be a dynamic collection, and whenever a client or a server connects to my SCCM server, it's going to determine if it'll fit in this collection. So I'm going to go to query rule, and I'm going to edit the query. I'm going to show the query language. So I'm going to paste that thing I copied in and change this from workstation to server space 10.0. And I'll show you where I got that information. Click OK and type servers up here. Give it a name of servers for this rule. We're going to allow it to do incrementing update instead of waiting for a full 7 days to occur. Whenever there's a change, add that client immediately. Click next, next. And so we've created this collection. Here's where I got that information from. I'm going to go to devices. I'm going to double click SCCM or even the DC, any of my servers. If I scroll down, I will see something called operating systems names and version. And I'm doing a search for server 10.0. If it has that under this field, then I know it's a server product. I'm not sure why this went red X. Maybe it missed a heartbeat. So in any case, I'm going to do another device collection for clients. Oh, I can also right click here to get, instead of going to the a ribbon. So I'm going to call it clients. Again, I'm going to search from all systems, add a rule, a query rule. I'm going to call it clients again. And then I'm going to edit the query, show query language, paste that in place, and all Windows 10 machines will have a workstation 10.0 at the end. So that'll be good. Click OK. Guys, if I go back into here, into edit query, you'll see what it adds. I think it's more difficult to do this than to just do the SQL statement. Click OK, click OK. And there's a lot of different examples on this page that you can play with. Use incremental updating. Click next, next, and close. So we have that Windows 10 in our network now. So I'm going to go back to administration, hierarchy configuration, discovery methods, and I'm going to highlight system discovery and run a full discovery right now. I could wait the 7 days for it to discover it on its own, but this will be a long video. Go back to assets and compliance, and let's see if it discovered that device. No, but here's one thing that has happened. My server collection has now been populated with 2 machines, the DC and my SCCM server. You might want to refresh. I'm going to pause the video, give this a few minutes to discover the client. Okay, the headphones are disconnected from the PC. Okay, my client finally showed up. Guys, I'm getting tired of waiting for it actually to install. So I'm manually going to install the client. If you just wait a little bit, it should install automatically, because let me show you. In one of the first videos, we actually configured this. So the client should automatically get installed with the admin rights to that site. But I'm just going to just go up to Asset and Compliance, go to Devices, and install that client, just so I don't have to wait. Under Device Collections, it actually found my client automatically. Again, just to show you this. If I go to Membership Rules, there's my rule that I created called Clients. If I edit it, then edit the query statement, and show the query language, it's going to look for that operating system name and version variable. If it has the term workstation 10.0 in it, it'll be placed in this collection. And this percent sign and this percent sign means I don't care what comes before or what comes after it. Just somewhere in the middle of that, it should have the workstation 10.0 in it. And the same for the server collection. You could do a lot of stuff with the SQL. I'm not well versed on it, but edit the query, show query language. And again, we're looking in this system variable for server 10.0. I'm going to go back to my collection and just show you that. If I go to devices, double click on one of my devices, this is what I'm looking for. Somewhere in the center of it, it's going to have server 10.0 for server OSs, and for client OSs, it's going to have workstation 10.0. I don't care what comes before or what comes after it. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop this video now. I'm just going to give it some time to install the actual client. If you want, you can go to the client, sign in. I'm going to go to the C drive. Windows directory. And I still don't have any information here yet. I should be getting the CSC setup folder. So I'm going to try to deploy it again. Okay, I'm going to pause. I'm going to stop the video here, upload what I have. This is just going to take time. There's nothing special I really need to do. In the chapter 5 and 6, it gives you a lot of information as to how to manually install that client, how to deploy that client through GPO and things like this. I'm just going to stick to this method. Okay, that's it. I'll upload the video.